I come to this magnificent house of worship tonight because my conscience leaves me no other choice. I join you in this meeting because I am in deepest agreement with the aims and work
of the organization which has brought us together, clergy and laymen concerned about Vietnam. The recent statement of the Executive Committee
are the sentiments of my own heart. And I found myself in full accord when I read its opening lines. A time has come when silence is betrayal. That time has come for us in relation to Vietnam.
The truth of these words is beyond doubt, but the mission to which they call us is a most difficult one. Even when pressed by the demands of inner truth, men do not easily assume the task of opposing their government's policy, especially in time of war.
The people united will never be divided. The people united will never be divided.
Connecting what was happening in terms of our foreign policy and the war overseas with what was happening locally, with the ongoing issues of race and division in this country, I think was an incredibly powerful moment in the life of this nation.
Dr. King was the spirit of it. He was one of the founders. He was actively involved in it.
Most of the national clergy leadership in the CALC organization were people who had met or rubbed elbows with King one way or the other, and understood from the get-go, this is an organization not only concerned about the war in Vietnam, it is an organization concerned about justice and the war in Vietnam. In 1966, I was invited to come for a job interview and then was offered a job at the University of Oregon. Quite unusual. We did it because I was going to the University of Hawaii as a visiting professor, and so we came to Eugene as a family on our way to Hawaii. So when I came and had my job interview at the university, my wife Beth and my two children were here at that time. And Beth was just completely taken by this community, loved it, and was very hopeful that we would move. Off we went to Hawaii. They offered me a job there, and we thought about it for a short time and turned that down. And then they offered me a job at the University of Oregon, and Beth said, "We'll take it." I was given names, actually only 4 names, by the national organization based in Philadelphia. The secretary of the organization said, "Here are 4 clergy people. When you go to Eugene, why don't you look them up and see if you can start an active group there?" So I did. We decided, yes, we should have such an organization here. Let us reach out into the larger faith community, and very quickly convened a meeting and invited clergy people from many congregations, and many came. And we were together as a group and said, yes, we should have a faith-based organization in this community, an interfaith organization, specifically to try and speak against this horrible war in Vietnam.
Many of us realized it really wasn't only about the war. It was, as Martin Luther King said, a symptom of a far deeper malady. And so we were looking at militarism and racism and the economic structures that kept those things in place.
Finally, the Vietnam War did come to a conclusion, and then we looked around and said, but look at what's going on in the world. We need to continue. There are so many issues all over the world. We needed to stop these wars. We needed to stop the military activities that helped generate these wars.
After the war, it became clergy and laymen concerned, and after a bit of a feminist struggle, it became clergy and laity concerned. And we were clergy and laity concerned until after the demise of the national organization. It was really part of our ongoing effort to be more inclusive that we changed the name to Community Alliance of Lane County. And that was a process too, because we did a name change contest. People could suggest what they wanted the CALC to stand for. We received, I think, 70 submissions ranging from caring and loving community to communists and lesbians concerned. And this was at a point when communists and lesbians concerned might not have been a fundraising plus, because we were still coming out of the Cold War at that point. And so we boiled it down to several choices that everybody on the board of CALC thought they could live with. And then at our big fall community event, we actually had people vote
When CALC started originally, of course, there was no building. For many years, we had office space available in the Koinonia Center at the University of Oregon, which is wonderful.
We had an office in there from 1974 to, I think, about 1980. And we moved from there to the Tiffany building downtown. That was a sort of a ramshackle old building, which was not well heated and in which the electricity was very weird. And so in the winter it was cold. People would be typing, and I'm talking typing on typewriters, with gloves on sometimes. Almost frivolously we said, we'll just buy a building. But we made that dream come true, and we made that dream come true with the help of a couple of wonderful people who put up the down payment. The building is now dedicated to one of the people who helped with that down payment, Leslie Brocklebank. The stability of having our own home is one of the reasons that CALC, which has always been financially marginal, has made it through some tough times. We couldn't give up on ourselves because we had a lot going for us, and part of what we had going for us was the building. We moved after the Vietnam War still to pretty much of an international focus. We were looking at the U.S. involvement with military dictatorships, looking not just at nasty countries, but at nasty countries that the U.S. was involved with and helping to keep doing what they were doing.
The CALC mission is to educate and mobilize people to work for peace, human dignity, and racial, economic, and social justice. That's a very broad mission, but CALC does all those things.
We worked against apartheid in South Africa. We also worked against U.S. intervention in Central America. But starting in the early 80s, due to a challenge from a staff person in the national office who was African American and said, hey, you guys are looking at human rights everywhere in the world. How about your own backyard? There's racism here, and it's not okay that you're ignoring it. So National CALC took on that challenge and conveyed that challenge also to the chapters around the country. And we were one of the chapters who decided we really wanted to take that seriously. For about 10 summers in a row, we did a day camp that was a multicultural peace and justice camp for kids. This was actually not CALC's first mural project. This is one of several that CALC has done, and all of them have been done with youth, including the most recent summer 2016 new mural in CALC's front yard.
We say, okay, I'm gonna do this, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna get this done, and then you get this payoff with youth learning about activism. So there's 50 years of that. That's mind-blowing. 50 years of that, of CALC's history, of that kind of impact.
What we've done over the years, sometimes very intentionally and sometimes maybe more inadvertently, is be a training ground, be a place where people first get involved in activism, are given the opportunity to contribute not only their time but also their ideas and their creativity. And so there are people that began with CALC, sometimes as young people, sometimes not, who didn't stay here. They moved away, they moved to some other whole part of the country, but they would still tell you what they learned at CALC stayed with them. There are now about 50 different people that have worked for this organization over the years, and they are still on the case in one way or another all around the country.
My brothers were going to the University of Oregon like 12, 15 years ago, and they were working here at CALC, and I was just a little kid running around. I feel like I'm the second generation kind of coming up and growing into this community, having gone to academia, and now it's my turn.
CALC has just given me kind of the skill sets to be able to do the things that I know matters most in this world, which is helping people live their best lives, standing up for people when injustices happen to them, letting them know when you get disrespected by someone that might be in a different power dynamic than you, that you have somebody that has your back.
Two projects that we worked very closely on. One was a mural. We couldn't have done it without CALC because they were the ones that really had the contacts in the community and with the youth and finding the artist and things of that nature that made it such a powerful project. And then we put together the Walk for Farm Worker Justice, where CALC was a very, viable partner with that, and of course the union, PECUN.
So it's constantly, evolving from farm worker issues to the broader immigrant rights of the kids in Central America, And even broader than that, now we have refugees coming here from the Middle East, from Syria. So how do we do it so immigrants from all around the world are welcome? We have a photo exhibit called We Are Neighbors that highlights the different people who have come and lived in Lane County.
And I think it's been a wonderful, challenging, and I believe very successful trip that we've taken as a CALC organization to address those issues: racism, homophobia, etc. And so the 50-year look back at the organization, I think, is really terrific, because we understand how we started pretty modestly but significantly focused on the tragedy of the Vietnam War, and then came to understand very, very instantly almost, wow, what we really need to understand is all those things within the society that rip us apart, that prevent the unity and the creativity and the harmony, peace building that we want.
We've used the building for our own needs and our own staff and our own programs, but it's also been a place where a lot of organizations have had their initial meetings and where things have gotten off the ground. There are a number of organizations that meet at CALC now, as there always have been. The Kids on the Border Committee meets here. The Nightingale Health Sanctuary meetings are held here. That's been the history for years and years, that CALC has been a seedbed for lots of things.
CALC hosted a number of Occupy committees, including the Homelessness Committee. And out of the Occupy Homelessness Committee came Opportunity Village, the first of the rest stops, and a lot of the other rest stops that are in Eugene.
When I think of the importance of our allies in our struggles, our collective struggles, namely in the Latino community, I do think of CALC. Through the work that I've done as president, through GLAD of Lane County, which is Grupo Latino de Acción Directa, and through the work that I did as a safer organizer under a program that belongs to CALC, I know that they are true allies and ready to stand up and step up and do the work that's required.
To me, this is a flag of collaboration, which is the fundamental building block of peace. And CALC, to me, when I think about it, represents collaboration. That's what they do. In my experience, they have sponsored us fiscally doing our City of Peace events and the Compassionate Action Network events. And CALC has never told us what to do or how to do it. They've always just been supportive.
They're able to take a small set of resources and use the wealth of people power to make stuff happen in this community that most people want to brush under the rug because it's painful or it's uncomfortable to do. CALC stands up and says, we're going to do it because human dignity is what's most important.
Peace and justice has yet to break out worldwide, so it's going to take some more generations to work on that. And it's wonderful when we see young people stepping into those roles, paying attention, getting engaged, caring about it, and wonderful when we can work with them, hopefully give them some sense of the history of struggle, because that will give them maybe some perspective and the belief that what we do can make a difference. And at the same time, working with kids gives older folks hope that there are going to be others to carry on the work for a better community and a better world.
Thanks to CALC and the amazing work that they do, my students from Citywide Metro were able to participate in this amazing mural, giving the chance for them to be able to speak some of the struggles that they suffer with on a day-to-day basis.
The background is an image of a black woman getting her mouth covered by a white woman so she can't speak out. And then this black woman is finally found her voice and is speaking out and saying that Black Lives Matter.
I feel like it's a good mural because a lot of people will like see it and reflect on it and see how the struggles that people have had, not just themselves, but like everyone, a lot of people.
Well, the whole meaning of this project is to for people to open their eyes and to realize that we're all one, of a kind. Well, if you ask me, there isn't any race. There's only like the human race.
It doesn't matter who you love, as long as you love. Love is love.
I wish CALC well another 50 years. CALC has been such a blessing to this community. We are all better off because of it, and I hope it continues strong.